What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hands-On channel. As you can see, I'm out here in my woods, and I really needed today to be just like this. I needed to come over to my land and just kind of take it easy. And it actually rained last night. A couple of nights ago, we had wildfires come through here, man, major winds, and everything's so dry right now because we're in a drought. My pond is really low. I've got a lot of personal stress going on in my life. I've got a problem with my Suburban that I haven't been able to figure out. And I mean, I'm a pretty dang good mechanic. If you guys follow the channels, you know that I do a lot of repairs myself, and I just haven't been able to fix this thing. And the economy's terrible. Food costs way more than it should. Everything does. My electric bill has gone way up in the past 3.5, 4 years. I mean, just everything is nickeling and diming me to death, me and my wife. Last night, my wife was in there stressing, trying to do a budget, like a Dave Ramsey type budget thing. And I as soon as she told me what she was doing, I was like, oh no, she's going to start seeing where all this money's going. And she was telling me she's spending like almost $300 a month on just gasoline and stuff like that, and she's cut down on eating lunches and things. And myself, I've cut down. I've already actually lost some weight. So that's one of the things that I'm doing to try to prepare for possible civil unrest or civil war that could come after this contentious election we have going on. So to say that I'm worried is not an adequate word to describe what I've been going through. At least more so for the last 1.5 years, but really since the COVID thing came on, and really more so than that since, the COVID was bad enough by itself. And I don't think Trump handled it 100% the way he should have. But, you saw what the next guy did. Biden came in and mandated the vaccine, or tried to. They pushed real hard. They kicked a bunch of people out of the military. I mean, just a complete violation of health liberty and stuff like that. So it was a real nightmare scenario right out of the gate, and just everything like that, all along the way, from the border being wide open, to basically them flying people, these illegals around the country, these invaders, okay? They're invading our country. And a lot of people say that it's right-wing conspiracy or Project 2025 conspiracy or whatever to talk about what they call the Great Replacement. Well, I'm not calling it that. What I call it is the UN's Replacement Migration Plan, okay? You can go read this plan on the UN's website. I encourage you to do it. It's only about a page or maybe 2 pages long, and it tells everyone in the West. They're not worried about, the Middle East or, the East in general. They're not worried about anything else except for taking down the West, the modern Western societies. So, United States, England, several other states around there, or countries around there, Germany, on and on and on, Australia, New Zealand. There are several places around the globe that are, modern Western cultures. And the UN, the New World Order, Klaus Schwab, the WEF, Bill Gates, all of these people like this, Ted Turner, on and on and on, whoever the hell it was that paid for the Georgia Guidestones, all of those people have a goal of, let's just say, depop. Maybe I can get my video through if I just say depop. Now, do you guys, hopefully you know what I'm talking about. Basically less, what do they call us? Useless eaters or something like that. Less people, okay? Which is completely anti-Christian in its philosophy. I mean, these people, if you look a little deeper, if you dig a little deeper than surface level, you can quickly tell that they are powered by Satan, okay? They may not even know it. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that a lot of these people like Joe Biden and a lot of these other Democrats in the Democrat Party, and many rhinos too, so it's not just Democrats. It's all across the board. And you can see these things that lead to a satanic type atmosphere, like the whole LGBTQ stuff, all right? That's all anti-Christian. Every bit of that. Everything, in my opinion, that the Biden-Harris regime has done in the last 4 years has been anti-American and anti-Christian. So on two fronts, they're opposed to the people in the United States. And I don't know if you heard it or not, but just the other day, Joe Biden came out and said that everybody or anybody that supports Trump or supports MAGA is garbage. So we've been called garbage. We've been called Nazis. We've been called deplorables. I mean, my God, these people said the other day when Trump was having his rally over there at Madison Square Garden that it was a Nazi rally because Nazis actually had a rally there back in like 1933 or 35 or some shit like that. These people's hypocrisy knows no bounds. And we're in trouble, guys. We're in big trouble because, you know, I watch a lot of the videos like Charlie Kirk and, you know, Vivek Ramaswamy talking to people, and Tulsi Gabbard has been joining on to that, talking to people on college campuses and stuff. And you can just, you know, when they first come up, you can just feel the brainwashing and the liberal communist indoctrination, at the very least, Marxist indoctrination that spews out of their mouths. And that's what Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and pretty much everybody that's in the mainstream on the left, at the top of the food chain on the left, man, they're just Marxists. And many of them are communists. You know, many of them might say they're socialists or whatever because it sounds a little better. But the reality is socialism is a stepping stone to communism. Even Karl Marx said that. Okay, so anyway, inevitably someone's going to come in the comments and say, oh, you don't know what socialism is. You don't know what communism is. Well, I can tell you what Karl Marx said it was. Communism is the abolition of private property, all private property. So everything, the hat on my head, the glasses on my face, the shirt on my back, the abolition of private property. Where else have we heard that before? Well, from the WEF most recently, Klaus Schwab with his evil supervillain voice said that you will own nothing and you will be happy. Well, not this old boy, okay? Right now, I own all this that you see around me back here. You know, I got 100 acres of land here. I've been collecting things, you know, that are important to me, you know, from my old 1972 Monte Carlo that one of these days I hope to get to restore to, you know, I've got 2 or 3 trucks. Actually, I've got 4 trucks right now. I've got 2 80s model Chevys and I've got 2 90s model Chevys. Nothing wrong with a Chevy truck. It was the pinnacle. In the 90s, that was the best trucks they ever made. Period. End of discussion. Most reliable, best trucks, all that stuff. Now these newer ones, they're so plasticky and tinny and thin. They're garbage. They're garbage. So much like the way the vehicles have been turned into appliances and garbage instead of rolling works of art like they used to be back in the old days, they're destroying our country in that same sort of way. And maybe that wasn't the best analogy, but I think you guys know smell what I'm stepping in here. I mean, everything. They want to control you and what you can do on your land, where you can even live, okay? Their stupid 15-minute city idea. I am never moving to a 15-minute city. You are going to have to kill me, globalists. That's the only way you're getting me off this land, period. And right now we have the Second Amendment, so it's not going to be super easy for you to come and take me off my land. So all that being said, I'm really worried, guys. The momentum, just like in 2020, is all behind Trump. Everybody sees the mega rallies that he has, or MAGA rallies, I guess we'll call them. He had 75,000 people. It was a sold-out show at this supposed Nazi rally that the Democrats portrayed this, you know, Madison Square Garden rally as, you know, and 75,000 people showed up and they couldn't even get all the people in. There was probably, you know, rumors say another 5,000 to 10,000 people outside. So this guy clearly has the, draws the crowds and has the attention of the American voter. To get somebody to go do any kind of event is kind of a big deal. You have to stop whatever you're doing, go to the Madison Square Garden event. That's going to take several hours. You're going to have to wait in line. You're going to have to go through security. It's not exactly something that most people, at least people like myself, would want to do. But you're seeing people and turnout in droves at Trump rallies. Well, that's the same thing we saw in 2020, wasn't it? And Biden was drawing these paltry crowds and putting circles around the chairs, pretending like the reason he couldn't draw a crowd was because of COVID, when you and I all knew the truth. He couldn't draw a crowd to save his life, period. Period. Unless he was saying, oh, I'm giving away free shit. Because that's the only thing the Democrats ever do. Free college tuition, free housing. We're going to give you $20,000 or $25,000 towards a down payment on a house. Well, you know what that creates? It creates a situation that's unequitable. They're always talking about equity and shit like it's the most important thing, but then they create these situations that are unequitable. Like, you know, I had to pay my own fucking down payment. Nobody gave me $25,000 to buy a house. That's unfair. And as many people have pointed out, if the government does that, then everybody that's selling a house is just going to raise the price by $25,000. It's pretty easy to figure out if you've got, you know, enough brain cells that you can look more than 2 or 3 moves into the future. And I'm telling you guys, when I'm looking 2 or 3 moves into the future right now, what I'm seeing is a repeat of 2020. They're building up this false narrative that Kamala has all this support. She's been the media darling since she announced, basically. They've been, you know, just blowing smoke up her ass all nonstop and pretending that she's the smartest person and the most qualified person for the job. And then you hear her on an interview, I mean, it just makes you facepalm, because it's just like, oh my God, this woman has to be kept away from the United States presidency, period. Now, I know, and you know, and anybody that's aware probably knows that she is going to be a puppet if she's allowed to, you know, if they steal this election, because that's what I'm getting at. I think they're going to steal another election. Why wouldn't they? They made the blueprint. They got away with it. They made, you know, they've got enough control over the courts and the Department of Justice that they're not going to bother to look into anything that they don't want to, that doesn't prove their point. You know, Trump had many cases that were thrown out because they said it didn't have any standing or whatever. You know, there was also Texas versus Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania changed their voting rules and allowed mail-in voting without changing their state constitution or their state rules. And Texas was like, hey, man, this affects us because we're all in this together. And Texas brought up a great point, but the Supreme Court refused to hear it. Now, one bit of good news I'll tell you, up in Virginia, Governor Youngkin, I think's his name, he was trying to get like 200,000 people thrown off the rolls, off the voter rolls, because they were illegal aliens. And guess what happened? The Biden DOJ, the commies that are in charge of the Department of Justice, Merrick Garland, the guy that fucked up the Oklahoma City investigation when they had the Oklahoma City bombing, he was the one in charge of that and covered everything up. So that kind of tells you who this guy is. He went after the governor or the state of Virginia for their voting, not giving 90 days or whatever. That's some other conflicting law that says it's called motor voter or something like that. And you have to give them 90 days. And that's also what made it to where when you go get a driver's license in like 44 states, you automatically get registered to vote if you want to. Ridiculous. And that's how it's getting all these illegals registered to vote, even though they're not qualified. They're not U.S. citizens, because they can lie by not checking a box. No one's double checking and checking up on them. Well, that was until Governor Youngkin tried to kick 200,000 plus off the rolls, and then all of a sudden the DOJ sued them. And they damn near made them keep them on the rolls. But finally, at the last moment, the Supreme Court jumped in, and there's another law that says no matter what, no matter if it's 1 day or 1 second before the vote is cast, if we find out you're an illegal, you can't vote. That's protecting our democracy. These things, you know, the thing that the Democrats like to talk about the most, like it's the most important damn thing ever, is democracy. And the founding fathers were dead set against pure democracy. So that's why we live in a constitutional republic. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to tell you, I'm pretty worried. I think they're going to try to steal it again. I mean, I think if it was a fair election, I've said this many times, I think Trump wins big time. I mean, he's got the momentum. He's got the votes, but a lot of people are saying too big to cheat and stuff. I don't believe that. The Democrats have shown they are willing to do anything they have to hold on to power. And I don't know if they steal it. I don't know if a civil war is going to break out. I don't know if the American people have been made uncomfortable enough yet to where they'll rise up like lions out of slumber and remind these people that we are many, they are few. Anyway, guys, I'm out here in my land, soaking up the sunshine, getting some vitamin D, being in nature, enjoying my place, and trying to get my mind right to be able to accept whatever happens, because I'm not going to be the one to fire the first shot at the Civil War. No, it's not going to be me. So I think we're in a lot of trouble. I think the globalists have a lot of influence over our elections, the process. I would like to criticize the voting machines, but if I do, a certain company, I'll get sued, and I don't have any protections against that. So they've really got the common man up in a corner, and we're wounded. We're like a wounded animal. And we either submit and die, which is what the globalists want us to do, and give up on everything, give up on liberty, give up on self-governance, give up on everything that's great about this country. Or we come out swinging and we fight like hell until we restore this country to a constitutional republic like it's supposed to be, where the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and these assholes, no matter who it is that gets in there, has to follow it, because it's a group of rules. It's, especially the Bill of Rights is a group of rules written for the federal government to protect us against them. The founding fathers knew, man. They knew that this was going to happen, that people were going to get in there and get drunk on power and try to hang on forever. Unbelievable. And they're going to do dirty, dirty shit to steal the election. I'm already seeing stuff, man. I can't remember if that was Michigan or what, but some place was doing early voting, and they said like 150,000 more mail-in ballots showed up than what they had sent out. This is how they did it last time, guys. They're doing it again. They're doing it again. Ballot boxes being burned in Portland and other places around several states, like 3 or 4 different states. These drop boxes are being set on fire. And on a couple of instances, it said Free Palestine on their bomb that they put in there or whatever. So pretty sure those are leftists. We're in a lot of trouble. If Trump gets in and he does a lot of the stuff that he says he's going to do, and they don't steal the election, we might have a chance of pulling out of this nosedive that we're on. Maybe. But you can't, it's not going to be quick to get out of $35 trillion worth of debt that they have created. And I have some criticisms of Trump too, during the COVID. I'm sure he was getting lots of pressure from everybody that, you got to send out this universal basic income check or whatever the hell they called it, stimulus or whatever the hell they called it. Unbelievable. When it comes down to the stuff like that, where it comes down to, people standing there with their hand out, seeing which candidate is going to give them the most stuff, we don't have a fair contest anymore. And we've got a nation that's so severely divided that, half the people or more think that they're entitled to all this free shit, and they should be getting like housing, universal basic income, everything, open borders, everything, free healthcare, everything for nothing. Like that old Dire Straits song, Money for Nothing. That's what they think they should get. Money for nothing, and their chicks for free, except for a lot of those people want to become chicks, so that's kind of weird. But anyway, it didn't look like an insane asylum about 5 years ago, but it sure does now. And the inmates are running the asylum currently. So we got one last chance to pull ourselves out of this garbage that we're, this Build Back Better plan that Biden and Kamala have. And we can actually make America great again by restoring, the economy. Simple as turning on the oil taps and drill, baby, drill. And I think that's going to happen. I think it's going to work. I think it's going to bring down all the food prices if it's allowed to happen. But again, the globalists have their tentacles all over everything. And even if you find one and you cut it off, there are hundreds or thousands more tentacles that you can't even see. Am I saying we're completely fucked? Not yet. But I think we'll know more after the 5th of November. Remember this saying too, it might be worth it to go watch V for Vendetta. Even though the story of the real Guy Fawkes is nothing like that movie, but it's still an entertaining movie you should go check out. And one of the little poems he says in there that always stands out to me, especially this year, is "Remember, remember the 5th of November with gunpowder, treason, and plot." And something, something, I cannot see why the 5th of November would ever be forgot, or something like that. I missed some of the middle part, but it seems so weird even making a video about this, because most of this stuff is so common sense that I don't even think it needs to be talked about. I think most Americans should be, born and raised with this sort of mentality, but somewhere we went terribly wrong. And I think it's the Department of Education started by Jimmy Carter back in the late 70s. I think it's the getting off the gold standard in the early 70s with Nixon. I think it's the creation of the Fed, the Federal Reserve, in 1913. I mean, how far you want to go back? The Whiskey Rebellion? Guys, hang in there. Keep your head up. Keep your chin up. No matter what happens, don't let them beat you down. Because I am convinced we are many, they are few. But they have the tentacles of the New World Order actually pulling the levers for them. So if they steal another one, be prepared for the same sort of thing to happen. Trump will say it's stolen. They'll say it was the most fair election in human history, and on and on and on. And the media will run with their lies, and they will cover up any truth that comes out about the election fraud. I mean, there are numerous cases. I mean, the most obvious proof that the election might have been different was the censorship of the Hunter Biden laptop, and also the censorship on the YouTube and Google algorithms and Facebook and all the others, Twitter at the time. That's how they did it. That's how they did it. And then they squashed any dissent afterwards. How do I know? Because I've had dozens and dozens and dozens of videos get warnings and strikes and taken down because I dared say the thing that I wasn't allowed to say. Like during the COVID, I said anti-COVID stuff. I said anti-vaccine related stuff. During the election, after the election, I said it was stolen. And I couldn't say any of those things for like a long, long time. And then YouTube and Google finally backed off. Why did they back off? Because they knew they had 2024 coming up. And if Trump wins, they're going to say Kamala was robbed and it was stolen from her. So whoever said that, I think it was a Chinese proverb, may we live in exciting times. Boy, do we. And you better be preparing for any potential outcome. I mean, it could be just minor pockets of civil unrest. Let's say Trump wins. Guarantee you it's going to be like a repeat of the Summer of Love 2020. I got to tell you this too. The Democrats are always saying how they're going to sick the United States military. The Republicans, Trump is going to sick the United States military on the citizens. When in fact, they just came out with some new, I don't know what to call this, a bill or whatever the fuck this thing is, but it's like 5206.1 or something. I don't remember the number. Don't quote me on that. But basically, this new thing, this new law that was written by the DOJ or whoever says that they can use the military to support local law enforcement in case of an uprising or, whatever. So, the whole point of the Second Amendment was so that the people could rise up if a dictatorship or a tyrannical government took hold in the United States. Meanwhile, the tyrannical people that are in charge are aware of all this stuff. And what are they doing? At very least, they're setting trip lines out there. They're planning for what happens once they steal the election and Trump comes in and says, hey, it was stolen, here's the proof. And then everyone gets upset like they did on January 6th. What are they going to do? They're going to sick the military on people. Exactly what they accuse Trump of doing. And like 9 times out of 10, if you listen to what the Democrats are complaining about Trump about, it's the shit that they actually do. The very definition of gaslighting. So, I hope we make it through this. I hope that Trump wins. I hope that we can pull out of this nosedive. I hope we can turn the economy around. I hope we can stop World War III before it gets too far into it. But as the old saying goes, you can hope in one hand and shit in the other and see which one fills up faster. Guys, I don't have a lot of optimism. I don't think that I'll be glad when this election's over, let's put it that way, so that I can just rest my mind and not be sitting there wondering what's going to happen. Because right now, the buildup is palpable. So guys, let me know what you think about this. Is Trump going to win? I mean, are they going to steal the election? Who are you voting for? I wanted to mention one other thing on the way out here. I do believe that there are millions, maybe tens of millions, of silent Trump supporters. They won't tell their friends. If you interview them on the street, they won't tell you who they're voting for because they're worried about losing their job, about getting banned on social media. They got good reason to be worried. So I think there's millions or tens of millions of those people that will show up on election day. What's so funny is I heard on the way over here, I was listening to a radio show, a talk show, and they played this commercial that Kamala is running, where basically it's a husband and a wife that go into a voting booth, and the husband asks her afterwards, like, oh, did you do the right thing? Like, meaning, did you vote for Trump? And she's like, oh, yeah, sure, yeah. Basically implying that you should lie to your spouse about who you're voting for. I mean, these motherfuckers are evil, man. Fucking evil, okay? I'm sorry to cuss, but they're pure fucking evil. And you shouldn't support that sort of stuff if you value, liberty and goodness and Christianity and all the things we've talked about. Self-governance, the right to exist, the right to own private property. So, I mean, everything's on the line, guys. I'm not going to tell anybody what to do, but I'll tell you right now who I'm endorsing. I've never endorsed a candidate, but I'm endorsing Donald J. Trump, the Hands On channel. That's right. Our full endorsement is going behind Donald J. Trump. I hope he wins. I hope he does all the things he says he's going to do. And I hope we take the Senate and the House, because if we don't, we're slow walking towards the abyss. Maybe we're already in it and I'm just not realizing it, but maybe this thing's already over. I don't know, but I think there's going to be some sort of eventually, I don't know when, eventually the Americans they're going to have had enough, and they're going to lose their comfort, because right now, I believe the only thing keeping them from rebelling right now is that the American people are so drunk on comfort that they don't want to disrupt that. But people are getting less and less comfortable every day. Anyway, I'm starting to lose my voice. I've got to go get a drink. I've been out here breathing dust and stuff like this, but I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to keep working on my homestead. I'm going to keep trying to be self-reliant. I'm going to keep prepping. I'm going to keep buying extra stuff. I'm going to keep stocking up on ammo. I'm going to keep doing everything that I can in my power to try to protect my wife and my family from the coming tyrannical communist government that would be run by Kamala Harris and Barack Obama. He'd be the puppet master, no doubt, just like he is now. So anyway, guys, I think I've gone on long enough. I appreciate all your continued support. You guys that stayed till the end of the video, you're super fans, and I really appreciate you guys. I want to give you a thumbs up, man. I really appreciate you. You guys are the ones that keep me going on these videos and keep me producing this, because many times I've thought about just giving up, because basically what I'm doing every time I open my mouth here is I'm painting a target on myself if the commies win. As always, I stand for liberty to the bitter end. I hope you do too. God save us. God bless the United States of America. We'll see you next time, hopefully.